Good morning, good day, good evening to each and everyone that's listening to the sound of my voice. This is YieldMaxMindset coming to you with another portfolio review. And if I'm not mistaken, this should be, let's see here, week 46, I believe. Because last time we did week 45. Yep, week 46. All right, so we're going to try to make this as short as possible. Yes. All right, so our investing amount currently stands at 85,974.28. All right, it is currently 1:28 Eastern Standard Time and 12:28 Central Standard Time. All right. So live we are down $122. As you saw for the day, we're up $2,002. For the week, we are up $8,049. For the month, we're up $27,442. For the past 3 months, we are up $56,306. Year to date, from January to now, we're up $34,544. For the past year, we're up $56,565. And all time, we're up 49,800. And all right, so if you've been following my videos, you know that this is the most that we've seen in my account at around 85,000, 86,000 as it fluctuates now because of crypto. So we went from, what was it? Let's see, year to date. So we started out the year at, according to this, was around 51,000, right? And then we got to the week of April the 1st, and I believe this was for the first time President Trump announced that tariffs was going to be implemented, and the market did not like it, and so we nosedive. And I think this led to me, excuse me, I don't start yawning and stuff until I start doing these videos. This led me to getting my first margin call, where we sold, Robinhood sold off, and I had been playing with the margin, getting near margin call and stuff like that. And I was able to sustain it, but that was a hard hit there that week of April the 1st. You can see the value of my account went from 51,000 down to 19,000. AMC got sold. All my AMC, I had originally 300. I increased it to 1,000. And it was at 100% margin maintenance, right? So that was not good. And so we got margin calls, so it sold off all my AMC. So I lost over $4,000. It sold off sold off 200 shares of my MSTY. I had just acquired 1,000 shares. It sold 200 shares, and then I sold an additional 49 shares. And there might have been one other position tried to offset the margin, right? So that was a dark time. And so in a span of April, May, June, and now July, a span of 3 months, we are at 85,000. I'm sorry. Don't start this until I start doing videos. I was doing fine until now. All right, but anyway, we're sitting at 85,960. Buying power is at 6,136. As you can see, our total margin is at 112,313. Total margin used is currently sitting at an increase of $106,177,000. And so we have, like as I said, $6,100 in buying power. All right, if we look at our portfolio, you can see that our buffer is at 32,228, almost 40%, which is good. And if we wanted to make a withdrawal from this account, we could withdraw $2,700. So basically, a small amount. All right, so you can see our interest rate is at 5.525%. And as always, if you are new to Robinhood, and if you are a gold member, and if you happen to be using margin, the first $1,000 of your margin is free with gold membership. All right, you can see my margin interest rate was at 5.75. It got reduced when I was over 50K to 100,000, and it was reduced to 5.55%. And now that my account was in the range of 100,000 to a million, which is unbelievable for me to even say, I'm at 5.25%. And I think that's because they take the whole margin and value together, which is last when I checked on my phone was right at 190,000. So that puts me over the 100,000 threshold, right? All right. So let's take a look at Dogecoin here, right? All right. So for the longest, when I first opened this account, and I opened this account, mentioned to me about getting crypto, and I'm not gonna touch that stuff. And then I saw Dogecoin run up. I think it was what 70 or 90 something cent back in the day. Let's hit 5-year chart and it should tell us. All right, so it looked like it got up to, well, I know it got up more than 52. I think it was like 70 something. It's only showing 57 here, but I think it was higher than that, right? And so I got into the crypto market, but I got in at that time not knowing that there was a 4-year cycle for crypto. I caught it on the downward trend, not realizing I was still buying high at the time. So I held the Doge in this account, and I eventually got it up to 10,000. Oh, so this was the other position I sold some off. So I had 10,000. I know I had over 10,000 shares, made 10,500 or something like that. And I sold about, you know, 250 shares or whatever it was, to offset some of my margin. So that was the other thing that got sold. All right. But you can see now my average cost is at 18. My average cost is at 0.189 and Doge is at 27. So I'm actually up in my crypto account. So our equity is at $2,038. And we're up $610. Average, like I said, 18 for 75.15 as our quantity in shares. All right. So now let's hit our um, our three biggest position in our ETF account. All right. So here we're looking at CONY. CONY is at 1046, up 14 cents after midnight. All right. So let's see, look at this past week on CONY. So we see here we got up to $10.63 on July the 18th around the pre-market time. And I was looking for Friday for us, maybe eclipse $11, but we didn't. The market went down, and that's how we ended. But anyway, so currently, our market value stands now at $104,600. That is the most value we've had in our CONY account since we've been cost averaging down and increasing our share position. That's something I was aiming to do. We may look at, so now we see that I think, like I said, I think the most I've seen down in this account was maybe $32,000 or $42,000, maybe 46. I have to go back and look at some old videos to see some of the old time, but now we are only down $9,200. Sorry about that. Starting y'all all of a sudden. It's late. All right. So we're down just 8%. And once CONY reach $11.39, we will be at our break even. Being down a -30 and negative to only being down a -9,000 has definitely increased my buffer. I do have some other positions that are in positive, but this has definitely played a part. So let's look at something. So I got 10,000 shares. I'm sorry, 10,000 shares, right? Let's go look at our history so we can find our oldest position. So if this is most history I have, then it's showing here that in January of 2024, I made my first CONY purchase of $9 and of 9 shares for $19.99 excuse me. And then I dipped a little bit and I bought 9 more shares at 19.80. I bought 2 more shares at 19.55. I got some dividends, reinvestment, I had a drip on. Bought me 1 share. You see, I bought 1 share at 23.85. All right, got dividends here. I took off the reinvestment because I got $59, $48, $36. And then on June the 21st of 2024, I bought 29 shares at $20.08. Got some more drip. And then August the 1st of 2024, I bought 287 shares at $17.42. August the 7th, I bought 475 shares at $15. All right, you see here my dividend was increased to $339. Let's see what the all right, so it was $1.01 payout. All right, then here on August the 9th, I had 230 shares at $15.35. August the 19th, I bought 458 shares at $16.17. August the 20th, I bought 99 shares at $15.76. Excuse me. All right, and then in September, almost a year from now, I bought 200 shares at $11.30. So we see here, this is where CONY started to go down, and I was cost averaging down. Then on September the 9th of last year, I bought 500 shares at $11.87. That's my another dividend payout. All right. Then on October 7th, I bought 200 shares at $12.92. August the 31st, 200 shares at $12.40. November the 11th, 800 shares at $16.12. This is probably because I thought, oh man, CONY's getting ready to go up, so I gotta give me some before it runs up, right? That's probably what I was thinking. We can see here I got dividends of 5,000, 4,000 paid out. All right, so December the 18th, I bought 100 shares at $14.38. December the 20th, I bought 400 shares at $14.34. All right, this is another dividend payout. January of 2025, 100 shares at $12.05. January the 15th, 900 shares at $13.01. March the 6th, 60 shares at $9.46. March the 21st, 100 shares at $8.42. March the 25th, 772 shares at $8.68. May the 12th. All right, so this is when it started to happen. Is when I heard, I believe it was on a Tuesday. Let me look at my calendar here. May the 12th was on a Monday. I knew it was a day that I wasn't working. All right. So May the 12th, that's when I was out walking. I got news that CONY was being brought into the S&P 500. And I said, oh my goodness. I said, that means that Coinbase is going to move, right? And so let me get some shares before it starts to move. So I bought 1,928 shares at $8.08. All right. And then I got wind that they had, and then they was becoming a stable coin. As you can see, the price went up. I bought 2,000 shares at $9.50. And at this time, I was actually hoping that it would come down. I don't remember if CONY came down after this date or not, but I went on ahead and got it. Now, I think it did. I think it came down to maybe $8.80 or something like that, or either $9. I can't remember exactly. But I was going to acquire and get the remaining shares that I needed to get 10,000 shares. So I just went over you my transactions, the number only. So the plan is, right, you see all these up until, let's see here. So around March of this year, everything after that was bought under $10, right? Everything else was above $10. So if I go to these earlier transactions, right, back here where I got it at 19 and 21. And so the thing is, if I were to sell those positions off, if Robinhood do what they call the first in, first out, right? So at first it's got to get to, this is my thinking. Some of you all can probably tell me in the comments if this is correct or not. This is just me thinking. So once it gets to my break-even price of $11.39, if I sell off, say, 800 shares, and that gets all the ones that was in the 15 up to $20 range. If I sell that off with my average cost at $11.39, I don't know if I sell a portion, if it's gonna say, okay, he bought that, but his average cost was $11.39, and boom. But if not, then it's gonna look at those earlier transaction that's been selling at a loss. I'm not sure about that. I know on Charles Schwab, it gives you the option to sell a certain number of shares based on first in, first out, last in, first out. You can hit your higher price or your lower price. It gives you those different options when you go to sell. So the thinking is by selling off the higher price in CONY, when it gets above my average cost, then I will have the lower cost position still remaining in my account, and my overall cost average should also decrease. So from 11.39 to maybe 10ish, or maybe under 10. But that's just a strategy. If CONY does get above 11, and I can do that, sell off half, lower my average cost, and have profit. But that's just a strategy. If you all know, want to comment on that in the comments, please do. All right, let's hit our other positions because we want this video to be short. Now I already done got the talking. All right, so here we have MSTY. MSTY's at 21.96. It's up 28 cents after midnight. Market value is at $21,960. We're down $3,700. Our average cost is at $25.70, and I have 1,000 shares. My next biggest position is going to be PLTY. It's currently at 648. All right, our market value is at 9,720 shares. We're down $872. Our average cost is at $7.06 for 1,500 shares. We definitely want to try to increase this. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I want to. It depends on how much I get for CONY. If CONY is above $1, that's great. It's going to give me some options to maneuver to potentially paying off another credit card. Or I'm going to take all that money and put it into PLTY or TSYY, but probably more so PLTY. Or I will use that to my other positions in this account, like for instance Tesla, YBIT. While these are still half price, I can bring down my dollar cost average for those positions if I choose to do so. So I got some things that I'm brainstorming. All right, so our position here, PLTY, is at $67.25. Our market value is at $15,467. We're up $238 in this account for the average cost of $66.21. 230 shares. We would love to increase this position. It did come down on the distribution day. It did come down the next day. I was expecting to pay more so that it would drop more and I would get in, but it sort of dropped to my average cost. I didn't really make a move. Probably should have, but I didn't. All right. Now, Palantir. This is the underlying stock for PLTY, right? So it's at $154. If you look here, if you had gotten in here 3 months ago, right? $92. That's where she was at 3 months ago. All right, so there's 13 days left to their earnings report. And so this is something I'm trying to decide because I have a market value of $18,523. I'm up $3,514. and we have an average cost of 125 for 120 shares. So I bought 10 shares on May the 6th. Let's show all, right? April the 18th, I bought 25 shares at 112. Accidentally sold those positions on May the 1st at 116, so I made a little profit. Got back in on May the 2nd with 20 shares at 123. I was able to get additional 25 shares at 113 and was able to get another 10 shares at 107. And then I bought 5 shares at 130 and 60 shares at 133. So it started to move up before I could actually build my position. But I'm thankful that I got in with an average cost of 125 now, and I'm up 3,500. So I know you all see my margin at 106,000, right? So if I sell all my Palantir before earnings, I think I might do that, and it could run up after earnings. I would be disappointed, but I'd rather walk away with some profit and then not have any profit should it come down after earnings. Yes, I'd be but anyway, what I would do is, I got 106,000 that I borrowed. If I sell all of my Palantir, right, I'm going to give them back the 15,000 that I borrowed because I'm sitting on $3,500 in profit. So not only would I give them back the 15,000 that I borrowed, but I will also bring down my margin another $3,500 if I were to sell it right now, currently, right? Hopefully in the next 13 days, hopefully it'll shoot up to maybe 170, right? And I'll be up maybe to 5,500 maybe. That'll be nice. All right. So that's a strategy to get my margin count down, is to sell probably maybe 3 days before earnings or a day or two before earnings. Listen, now if they're really, if the reports on Palantir is like, oh, they're going to blow through earnings and analysts are estimating is, then I may actually hold on to it just to be a part of that. But if not, then I'm probably sell it before. Next, we got Robinhood. Check out Robinhood, you all. Check out Robinhood. All right, 65.70 is my market value, up almost $1,000. Average price is 93.09 for just 60 shares. I'm disappointed in only being able to get 60 shares. Let's look at my history. What we want is the earnings. Look at my history. Come on, find it. All right, so maybe I don't have much. So I bought 10 shares at 73.61. And then I bought 50 shares at 96.99. So I wish I had gotten more, but I didn't. I wasn't expecting to run up that quick, right? So see here on June the 12th, it was at $73. June the 12th now. So we're just barely over a month and a week or so past that, right? So a month ago. June the 20th is $76. So in 1 month, Robinhood has gone up $32.99. Now I've showed you in what 2 videos ago, maybe I showed you what Chris saying said, hey, Robinhood is going to 100. And so I got in, but I wasn't expecting to move that fast. So look at where it's at, $109. I ain't had a real significant pullback. Sometimes you don't want to chase, but I would have loved to have had a bigger position to have more profit to sell out. But I think Robinhood's got a lot of upside because they got a lot of stuff coming out this fall, and then they just expanded into the European market. So this could be another Coinbase hitting $300-$400. That's just my opinion, right? I'm no TA, so I'm just a guy on YouTube. You should never listen to a guy on YouTube. All right, so we have the YieldMax version of that, which is Hootie, is at 77.40. We have 851 Our market value is at 851. We're up $162. We only have 11 shares. So I didn't get in on these. Oh, so the thing here, I was waiting for a dip. It looked like this might have been a dividend payout, right? So I'm looking at Hui, and I'm hoping now we're hoping for, in order to get this, I will need, whew, so even if it paid out $7, right, it still would be above my average, which would probably maybe an opportunity I may get in. If you give it time, it could come down. I would have loved to build a position up here to get these nice dividends, right? All right, so we have YieldMax. We had this position. This was one of our dividend paying position we got here. It's almost at my average cost. We do have an opportunity now with the maintenance ratio being reduced to increase our position, bring down our dollar cost. SoFi is another position that I've got into to do some swing trading. I may try to hold on to this position and build it up. Right now is at $22.05. Where our market value is over $1,100. We're up almost $100. Average cost is at $20.18 for 50 shares. AIYY, this is another position I'm looking at. The reason why I'm looking at it, because I'm looking at this price, right? And I look at the dividends that it's paying out. And this is an AI position. And if it decide to ever have some uptick, it will be instant profits, sort of like CONY, getting in at a low, breaking down my average cost, sort of repeating that same process again. That's something I'm looking at. But I also know that I got some outstanding debt outside of Robinhood that I want to get rid of. Super Computers is another position I got in the swing trade. It's at 52.27. We have over $1,000. We're down 24. Average cost is 53.41 for 20 shares. And this one, I was listening to someone on YouTube. It's like, hey, this one has gone up, but we probably want to wait for a pullback because, and I went ahead and got in, even after they said wait for a pullback, right? I don't know anything about this one. This was me just taking a wild goose, and I'm paying for it. So I'm down over $600 for 160 shares. So that's what we're stuck with that one. All right, moving on. All right, so let's get our Excel spreadsheet. All right. All right, so here, our active income for the month of July, we do have another pay coming in the month of July. So that's going to likely put that, just guessing, right? 3,800 plus 1,900. So that should put us at about $5,700 for the month of July. Right now, our active income, probably for the first time, is outpacing our passive income of dividends. But that all will likely change this week when we get our CONY. All right, so let's go back to that. So here, Group C is what we're getting paying out. Our weekly payers and Group C ETF. We will get paid on the 25th, which will be this Friday. What is this? This is July. Yes, so this will be Friday. So you would all have to have, if you want to get paid and you maybe getting this for the first time, you have to be in there Wednesday before the market close. All right, so Group C is going to consist of ABNY, AMD, CONY, Kavana, which I like. Dre is a new position that's been added. I don't know. No, it just got added the other day, so there's no way we should be getting paid, right? In my opinion. Fiat, Hui, Microsoft, Netflix, and PayPal, right? All right. So the positions I own in here will be AMD, CONY, Carvana, and Hui. So I got one, two, three, four ETFs out of Group C, along with the weekly payers YieldMax and OT. All right. That's it. And then the following week, we got these babies getting ready to pay out. Back to a spreadsheet. All right. So our active income last week was at 1,000. Passive income last week was at $1,410. We had about $772 paid out this week in dividends from Group B. So that brought us to $2,180. All right. Our total active income for the month, for the year is at $29,980 minus my tithes. And then our passive income is at $46,763. All right. So that should change this week. I'm hoping for anywhere from 85 to 95 cents with CONY. I don't know what we're going to get. Some have predicted 80 and 88 cents. I believe I think retire on dividends must have said 88. Another gentleman might have said 80. So that's where we at. So combined income is at $76,743. Our average active income is over $4,200. And our passive income right now is earning us over $6,600 a month in dividends. That will change significantly when we get CONY and MSTY for this month. No, we won't get MSTY for this month, but we will get CONY. So CONY is going to put us, I would say, the lowest 50 cents for CONY, right? No one is expecting it to be that low, right? So I'm looking for at least a range of 85 to 95, right? So if that's the case, then we are looking at, let's just say 85. Just say 85, right? So we got 10,032 shares actually. So if we say times 85 cents, right? We're looking at $8,500, right? So 8,500 plus so that would put us at over 10,000 a month. But I have the other positions along with CONY, right? Which was Kavana, right? AMD, Kavana, and Hui. So could be pushing 1,100 to maybe, 1,100. Maybe you get lucky, 12,000 for the month of July, which would be nice. Which could put us in a position when the numbers drop. I would have to see that I could actually draw maybe 13,000, maybe 14,000 here, or the lesser amount of the 9,000, and pay off another bill. All right. I probably would prefer to do this, hit this 13 or the 14, because then I could pay one of these off and then wait a month, see if they offer me a balance transfer this amount to this card, and then who knows, this may open up and I can transfer this amount to that card. Basically, getting anywhere from 8 to 18 months free interest, right? Save me a lot of interest. We'll see. We'll see what our plans are. All right, so this amount is paid off, as you can see here. Positive, negative, cancel out, makes it a 0, right? All right, so our Robinhood Gold year to date, it's cost us $35. Interest paid in our Robinhood account year to date is $1,603.19 for an average of $267.20 for the ongoing 6 months. All right, our total margin, as we stated, year to date now stands at $106,177. This was the amount previous last week was 101, and because we did make some positions, buy some stocks and ETFs, and we now stand at $106,000. Our 401k amount has been reduced to $22,801, giving us a total outstanding debt of $306,129. Now, We're going to go ahead and update this amount to reflect that. And the reason is because if this is our highest amount, we want to timestamp our highest peak of where we were. Normally I try to do it at the beginning on the first of the month. Today is the 21st currently. All right, we're just going to stamp that because it won't record of it. All right, so our total interest going now into the second 6 months of the year stands at $2,895. Combined interest year to date is $16,174. Now the first 6 months you can see it was stopped at $13,279, and it's a lot of interest. $16,000 in interest. Do you know how much that is in dividend payout? $16,000. For $16,000, that is approximately $1,500 in dividends monthly. I could probably get, 1,000. I think every 15,000. I don't know whether dividends have shifted, but generally about every 15,000, it yields about $1,000. So 30,000, you could be looking at about $2,000 a month in dividends. So around 15,000, that's 1,000. So, all right. So our deposit in our Robinhood account year to date on February and January, that was around $16.85, and we've made 2 withdrawals. This right here, loan that out. This right here is my personal first withdrawal that I use for my own benefits, was $6,000 that I paid this amount off. Now, our CONY stands year to date, not year to date, I think it's all time. I've made 46,800. I'm trying to figure out how I was figuring this up. Now, I think I was manually doing it, but now I think I'm gonna just get it from Snowball Analytics when it updates. But anyway, it's saying that CONY, we've gotten $46,884, and we are $67,252 from breaking even. All right, so the total amount invested is around $114,000. All right, here in MSTY, total dividends received year to date, not year to date, but since I've started investing in MSTY, is at $19,501. We were just we were just around $800 from getting all our initial investment back. But when they lowered the initial ratio from 70 to 35 on MSTY, we took that opportunity to go ahead and get 1,000 shares. I believe it's 1,000 shares, or either 1,500 shares total now in MSTY. So now our initial investment is at $26,021. And so now we should probably have all this back in about maybe 4 to 6 months, depending on MSTY's distribution. All right. All right. So one of the other things I forgot to mention was, and show you all, was our cash position in Charles Schwab, right? So this is where we currently stand at 25,558 is the count value. We have cash on hand for dividends at $92.99. So I didn't invest any back on Friday when I got paid, when I got this distribution. Our cost basis is at $22.68. So we have profit, total gain of $196. All right, that's currently where we stand. So if we had to buy that, take that $92 and buy a position, we will first want to look for something that's below our average cost. And right now, MSTY is below my average cost. That would be an option where we use to purchase some MSTY to bring down our average cost from $23.47. Then the only other thing is close would be PLTY, which would be over our average cost, but we would probably go ahead and make that transaction and make that happen. Or we'll just continue to build the cash up until we have a pullback on one of these positions that we would like to get in. I like to probably put it in Morrow too because it paid out a nice dividend the other day. I think it was reduced, but it's still nice. All right, so in this cash account, saying past 6 months, right? I don't want to do the past 6 months. I want to do the current month. All right. All right. So is that right? I had all this done earlier. All right. So the current month, our total dividend in this cash account so far, we've gotten $134.42. All right. All right. So let's refresh, see what's going on in the crypto world. Bitcoin is at 118. Ethereum is making some noise at $3,700. XRP, as some of you all are probably into, at $3.51. And Dogecoin is up at 20, almost 28 cents. So that's nice. And Shiba Inu, there you go, 15. And my biggest position, Chronos, which is CRO, is at 12 cents. My average cost is at 0.079 cents. All right. Tracker saying our annual dividend is forecasting $103, saying that we should be averaging $8,600 a month in dividend payout. That is broken down as to almost $2,000 weekly and daily, making almost $283 a day. That equates to $11.79 an hour, which ain't enough. So that means we got to get it up. All right. So it's saying all investors at $207,000, right? Okay, it's showing here for the month of July is what it's declared. And then the other that are shaded dark charcoal is estimated. Alrighty. Snowball analysis. All right. So it has account value of 86,000, saying I got 98,000 invested. Here is saying the dividends received. Dividends received is at $88,455,000. Fees is at $23.71. My realized profit and loss is at a negative 85,000. Capital gain is a negative 12,000. Alrighty. So that's where we are again. We're saying we're down 12,000. Alrighty. So Snowball and Analytics saying that we should have about 94,000 over the next 12 months and averaging $7,800 per month. Here it shows what we've gotten paid out for the month of July, $2,075. We have a declared 58 and it's estimating almost 5,000 from our other positions, but it's basing that on the prior month's distribution, which for CONY was what, 43 cents, 53 cents, right? So you can see here in May, CONY, I think, had 2 distributions that month. Excuse me. $9,800. All right, so this is what we're looking at. All right, let's move it along. All right, so these are our most recent transaction here. You can see here I purchased AMC on July the 17th, 150 shares at $3.80. Sold those on same day for at a price of $3.50. All right, so we made $48 in profit on that transaction. You can see here about MSTY, PLTY. These are the shares that I purchased this week. All right, so here it's showing, see here, we did get paid MSTY the other week. So MSTY now stands at dividends $19,483. Account is down over $4,000. So we sold some MSTY in profit for $1,600. And so our total profit here minus negative capital gain stands at $17,000. So I think we're doing pretty good with MSTY. You can see CONY, we got $114,000 invested. Total dividends received is $46,613. We're down 10K here, according to Snowball Analytics, 1,000 and something, right? Realized profit, almost $1,400. So total profit, dividends, 46,613 minus the negative 10. Realized profit and losses put us at a total profit of $37,377. All right. So we won't go all of this. If you want to pause the video and look at all of this, look at our other positions. Due to time, we're going to try and move it along. Well, we will show you this. So it's showing that we've received $81,565 in total dividends. So some of you, if you're still watching the video at this time, you want to say, well, what's your total dividends so far? There it is, $81,565, right? Total profit, that's where we stand. Now, year to date, my estimation is that CONY at 46,000. So that can't be right. That can't be right. Because if CONY is at 40, oh, that's total since I've been going at it. This is just year to date with everything. So I was about to say, what's going on here? But I get it now. All right, let's get back. All right, so now let's get to our Q&A. See if we can get this done in 15 minutes. How about that? See if we can get it done in 15 minutes. That'd be a nice accomplishment, right? Q&A section. All right. So 2352 says, thank you. This was last week's announcement for Palantir and Morrow, which had nice distributions. Not what people were expecting, but $2.50 something cents, $2.37. It's nice. And Morrow is real nice since it's just maybe $23. So it was at $23 and Palantir is at 60 something. Implied volatility matters. All right, I said, thank you, sir, for dropping in and viewing the content. Stay tuned. Let's get the money. All right, 360X says, YieldMax has been rough the last 2 weeks. Hopefully we bounce back. I said that 15 to 18 cents has got us spoiled, but yeah, it has taken a dip. My good friend Alan says, thank you for the review, man. I said, you bet. It continues to pay the bills. Side question, how long have you ran marathons? He replied, I've ran marathons off and on since college. Thanks for asking. I said, that's awesome, Alan. I saw a lady the other day who was 20 years younger than me running nonstop for miles when I was exercising. I stopped several times to catch my breath because I was just trying to get back into the groove, right? So I cut across the schoolyard to catch her because I saw her running nonstop and I was just amazed. So I ran across and I asked her how she's doing it. Very informative and nice about her routine, and I was just amazed at her endurance. She was much older than I, but she was in great shape, and she did not mind me interrupting her. Yeah, she was awesome. Very nice. Very nice. All right, Brent said, great distribution Wednesday, bro. Sold all my YieldMax for OT on Monday. Now over 10K shares of OT bills are still being paid and getting more income. Hashtag retirement life. Every day is Saturday, Monday money mindset. So he's got 6 likes on this video. I replied, yes, the distribution was really good and it has me thinking as well. I like your switch up. I've been thinking about getting 10K as well. So today I added 500 shares, trying to figure out how to plot and scheme to get myself up to 10K short term. We're going to shoot for 5,500. OT is near 52-week lows. Getting in now can definitely expect appreciation of the stock price. All right, that's all. Great, that's wonderful. All right, that's last week's portfolio review, week 5. It says, your Midwestern brother. I love your content. If everything works out at the end of the year, I can start paying off my debt with my dividends. Just trying to be like you. Thanks for the morning content, and I will drive safe while listening to your content. Thanks. I replied, thanks you, sir, for listening. Always appreciate it. I'm hoping by the end of the year that I would have a good portion of my debt paid. I think it's going to take longer than the next 6 months, but we're going to give it a shot. If I'm able to get 80 to 90% of the outside debt paid, then I'm not too worried about the amount of margin I have borrowed costs. It'll be at 5.25 versus 28%. Said, just found your channel. I'll be going back to check out more of your videos. I said, thank you, Sarah, for dropping by and viewing my content. Stay tuned. Let's see what this journey takes me. Mike Lessard, I think I'm saying your name right, Mike, I think. But let's just go with Mike. How about that? He said, it's cool that you make your subs YouTube famous as well. Laughing. Not sure what that symbol is there. He said, they offered me 82 G's because I had nearly that before first trying margin, but I only took 7th at the limit as tested. So with buying Robinhood margin, you can go in there and set a margin limit so that you don't overborrow a certain amount. Sometimes you like, boom, let me just go get it. You have those limits set and you can't do it. Health restrain yourself. He said, I'm loving how interactive you are as well with all this together. I said, I don't know much about this famous part. Just communicate with the community. Man, your margin has deep pockets. Let's get that money. How? Are you listening? I see you, man. Get that money. Got 2 likes. He said, spreading knowledge and making that dough, baby. If your channel blows up, it will kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Laughing out loud. Much love, my dude. My channel blows up, it would kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Spreading knowledge and making dough. Hey man, I welcome it. Let's show some love. All right. S. Brown said, hey bro, nice video. The margin maintenance for MSTY went down to 35% on my Robinhood account. Let's get this money. I said, I agree. Let's get it. But I do hear that some people margin maintenance did not get reduced. So I guess you have to have a certain threshold in order for that to happen. But anyway, let's get that money. I hear you, bang. The target, money. All right. Wolf said, my MSTY still has a 70% maintenance also. I said, yes, I was surprised to hear that. I thought everybody got reduced, but I guess they're doing a count by basis. Love your money, love your life says, I have learned that if I buy my shares slowly and in smaller numbers per ETF, my return stays in the positive. Even with margin, I will let 1 or 2 ETFs go back into buying power while I dip on the rest. Then switch them up every 2 months. Got 3 likes. Sniper says, bro, that's what I've been doing, dog, with my CONY positions. ain't been in the negative yet. He's gotten 2 likes. YieldMaxMindset says that, how was that trip, man? Glad to have you back. Stand in the positive. It is simply because you're buying at low entries. That's the question I asked. I replied, please do provide more details. I'm trying to figure out if you're getting in while CONY had near all-time lows. He replied, says, yeah, I just started getting in CONY the other day right before the price went up. I only brought 20 shares so that I stay well into the positive range. I have drip on and will buy another 10 or 20 next month, depending on the share price and dividend amounts paid out on this 20. He also said, the trip was great. We did not want to leave. Korea is always a nice place to go visit. But next year, we are going back to the US. Hopefully, it'll be a good trip. I think it's because I buy at low entries. I have bought PLTR at its highs, but now in low, I bought Palantir at its highs, but now in low enough quantity that I do not hit a negative return range. When it comes to me, I like to take the whole thing slowly. This positive income is more for my grandkids than it is for me. So they will have a good 15 plus years before they will have access to their brokerage account. I am 55, enjoying life on the island. Laughing out loud, what could I possibly need? Man, to be at that position at 55, not have to really worry about anything, setting up wealth for your grandkids. That is very good financial um, guidance, however you want to call it. That's good, just good financial savviness. Kudos to you, man. I said, okay, I got you now. I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed your trip. More importantly, I'm happy that you made it back. That's a goal of mine, is to get to the point to where financially I don't have those worries. I'm right behind you. So I have about 5 years to reach my goal, but I think I may be able to do it in 2.5. We'll see. All right, got that done. Any comments here? Everything is 10 days, 10 days. Yep, cool. I'll check one more. Yep, everything's 11 days. Let's move it along. All right, let's check the charts. All right, autopilot says, I love to hear and or see a video with your input on OT. I have been super interested in this strategy lately. In my Roth IRA, I am up 30% since I started in May. I have been doing a 70-30 method, 70% in YieldMax and 30% in VOO. Great start so far to this journey. Now, if you're listening autopilot, I personally don't do like dissecting a stock, analyzing it that way. I get my information generally from other people's or just observing movements in the market, vibe or feel. I don't have any technical skills to deploy, just things I've learned and picked up. So my advice would be to find someone like, let's see who is in it. The guy. He went to the New York Exchange with now. I can't think of his name, but his channel, he does a lot of TA on those things. Ken says, nice return. You definitely playing it risky with the amount of margin used. No room for error. I say, yes, you're correct. I'm just trying to take advantage of the opportunity while I have it. I know that I can easily sell Palantir and Hood and return the 20K borrowed with 4K in profit. He said, much respect. Chance makes champions. It's just when I saw you had only 6,000 of buying power out of 100,000, I was like, wow. Yeah, it is. I've got that maxed out, but the good thing about it right now is I have about $32,000 in buffer. 32,000 buffer. So I'm trying to take advantage of that. It's CONY. If CONY get 95 or a dollar, even 85 cents, I'm gonna be able to do something. Hopefully be able to make another move. We'll see. We'll see what the opportunity presents before August get here, before the tariff starts to kick in. All right, ABC 360 said, or BC 360 says, 26 bands on the month is wow. Good stuff. UK a clip said he averaged down on CONY, and that move alone brought him back, plus dividend profits. Brother speaking facts. I says, what up, man? That was crazy swing from April, 32K. Once I heard Coin was being drafted into the S&P, I knew I had to make a move fast. Engine 2995 says, oh, I think I had to get this translated. I said, if you're asking me if I recover the loss, I guess my answer would be yes, if I understand the question. What you gotta understand, I was down probably almost 42,000 CONY at one point. Now I'm almost back at break even. Even says, how much is your annual dividend income currently? I said, if there's no mistakes, $46,763.87 from January to July the 20th. He says, so annually, it will be roughly 100K. Good stuff. I said, yes, sir. That's about the range I'm getting from the apps, which is Snowball Analysis and Divi Tracker. All right. All right. T Money says, nice. I said, thank you, sir. Let's go. Cal says, can you show how much you're up all time? All right. So if you're watching this, Cal, let me go back to my Robinhood account. All time, saying $49,898 all time. I believe that's the information you want. If not, let me know. Hit me up. Well, actually, this is just the Robinhood. So the Charles Schwab account, you got to add a few $100s to it as well. So that should be maybe 50,336. All right. All right, so I had to translate again. I said, you're welcome. Please stay tuned. Let's see where it takes us. E-Man says, how much do they pay per month? I said, they don't have a set price they pay per month. They pay based upon the premium that they collect from the cover calls. The price ranges from $2 to $7 for these particular ones, and some pay as low as 9 cents to $1.50. 4903 says, keep building, man. You are a motivation. I said, thank you, sir. Appreciate you dropping by and watching the content. The more we know, the more we grow. Let's get this money. All right. User GD says, how? Oh, this was last week, right? He said, how do you stay calm when you're down in nearly all your holdings? You down 15,000 in CONY. Average says, this is how great investors are made. It takes a strong will not to panic when your account goes into the negatives. It's all part of the process. Also, he may be down in that position, but the dividends he is making out of that ETF is great. Dave said, dividends he racked in every month on CONY alone or at least 5,000 at the lowest. He's going to be holding it for a while overall. Still positive on this. Yep. Thank you guys. You all had some great comments. I thought there was another comment there, but yep. Great. All right. Did we do this one already? All right. Friend 3138 says, I got 1,000 shares of OT and YieldMax, working on YieldMag at 323 shares right now. Sorry I didn't see your comment earlier, man. Tay says, fire, fire, fire. I've got my eyes on OT as my next 10K target. 6778, Nick 6778 said, how much 1,000 per month pays? And I said 1,000 per month at 0.9 equals 95 times 4 equals 380. I said, check out this website. I think all these are over 10 days, so this is probably the other week. Sent 8 days ago right here. These are old conversations, but anyway. Man, let's check one more here. Yep, old conversations, great. All right, we're almost out of here. We're going to get this under 115, I think. Got all this. But he says, I met Jim rowing 5 times, shook his hand, and it was always one of the best days of my life. Rest in peace to a real one. I said, man, I didn't know that. I did see that he passed away 16 years ago. 3138 says, fire, fire, fire. Yes, sir. Money to be made for sure, I replied. Mike Lessard says, I got $990 tonight. Raising a roof. I said, speak, man. Your target. I see you. I'm very happy for you, bro. Now, may I borrow some of that for my margin account? He said, laughing out loud, well, I got 5Gs saved, so forth. So 2,000 left to finish my 7Gs. He said, I sold a few of my weak positions too. I said, fantastic job, fantastic. I was concerned there for a moment. I thought you called. What did I say? I was concerned for a moment. I thought you about to go buck wild with the 82 G's of margin. I was like, oh Lord. He says, nope, I'm a conservative on any. He says, nope, I'm conservative on any loans, my brother. Pump, pump. He said, I'm definitely get more down the road again. It's best it's best get slightly less than we EU make total dividends per month. That way you can have a routine to take some of the bills if needed. It's best to get slightly less when you make a total in dividends per month that you can have a routine to pay some of the bills. Sort of lost there, but yeah, I'm using some of to pay some of the bills. Gave me a good handshake. I said, I see you there. Drew says, yeah, brother, let's go. I said. Scott PC says, keep it going. I said, to the moon. If you're an ape, you know what that means. To the moon. Let's blast off. Nick 6778 says, which one is the best? I said, all of them. Nah, but some of the top dogs here of late have been PLTY, Maro, SMCY, Hui, OT. That not financial advice, just my opinion. I may have left one out. I left MSTY out. See who we got that. I may have left some out. He says they high risk. Oh wow. Are they high risk? All right. See here next. My good friend again. He says the charts are going up. I said, how long will they be bullish before they go down? Dennis or D's my D says we Morrow. I said, yes, I'm loving Morrow. Hope to continue to grow my position before it run ups, but I might not have time to do so, trying to pay down debt and margin. He said, I hear you. Everything in moderation. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Maurice Patterson. PLTY is bogus for lowering the dividend and not profiting the rest. So I'm sure they didn't do that. Most of the dividends it's made from implied volatility. So if there's not enough volatility, then the dividends are going to be low. Of course, that's just my opinion. Lemon says greater than 10 cents on OLTI. Let's go. I said yes. Was nice, and it continues to appreciate, adding value to our position. A weekly ETF, probably my next 10K target. Human says OLTI really surprised me. I need to buy more. I feel you on that. I just added 500 shares today. Good God, just another way to steal people's money. This is going to be another form of gambling. Shaking my head. I said, I'm not sure. I understand where you're coming from. If you're getting a return on your investment, how is it gambling? Normally, with gambling, you either win or you lose. My good friend 3138 says, sweet. I said, yes, if the implied volatility is volatile, it will be good, sweet as you say. My good friend Mike says, I wonder what first dividend will be, laughing out loud. I've heard a good and bad comments about people who use DraftKings, so I may only try one share for fun if the maintenance fee drops to 30%. He says, I'll be watching. No, that's me. I said, I'll be watching and looking, not sure what to expect. What are you going to do if you have invested $1 and it drops down to 50 cents? I was just being comical there. He says, true, I don't think I'm down to mess with it. I said, yes, I mainly am just posting, bringing attention to a new listing on YieldMax. He said, who knows, though? It could pop off. Eric says, laughing out loud, I don't know about that. I don't know about that one. I said, that seems to be the sentiments of everyone responding. Okay, so I think that's it. Let's hit this. It's 8 days ago. All right, so that's going to be our content. Yep. So our video was about 5 minutes shorter than last week. I was hoping to make it a little bit shorter. All right, so this is YieldMaxMindset. Thank you for stopping by and watching. Let's look and see what Group C is going to pay out for CONY, Lana, AMD, YieldMax, and OLTI. And let's get this money. Y'all be blessed. Be safe. I'm out of here.